Okay, today we are playing a game on the Horizon Lunar Colony. We're in the Bronze SR range, and we will be playing Tracer the entire way through. We are also on the console, by the way. Consider yourself forewarned, it looks like it's the Xbox, based off the hieroglyphics. So we are in Bronze SR, so I really don't care about our team comp today, because people don't know how to fucking play their hero in Bronze. It's not worth worrying about it beyond, do we have a healer, basically. So, we're just gonna start the game. We're on flowfeedback.com, by the way, which is about to be revealed to you right there. Look at that. I just want to complain. Okay, look. This sums me up in general, but I just want to complain about this, right? So every fucking video on flowfeedback.com, you can see on the timeline where all the comments are, and it always looks like this. It's always like, oh, look, somebody has a fucking lot to say for the first third of the game, but then, oh, look, something that gets the person started playing flawlessly for the second half of the game. How about that, you fucking cowards? Either, like, review the whole thing. Either review the whole thing or don't even bother if you're gonna half-ass it, okay? Either full-ass it or don't bother, okay? Anyway, so, now that all that complaining's out of the way, let's start the game. So, we've got to defend Horizon first, which is super fun. Everybody loves playing on Horizon. It's a great map. So, we do seem like really unfocused and unsure what to do during the first, like, 20 seconds here, where we've basically just been wandering around killing time. And then we pop recall really early, which we didn't need to do, because this is going to be a recurring theme. We can just blink backwards into this room and pick up the large health kit. We don't want to have to use recall if we don't have to. If we can just blink over to somebody who can heal us, or blink over to like a health kit, that's better than using recall. Because the thing is, when you're playing Tracer, if recall is on cooldown, you have to play a lot more conservatively while recall is on cooldown, because that's how you get out of trouble. So when it's on cooldown, which is quite long, you have to just play more passively. Somebody is on the point behind us. I mean, Tracer's not that great at, I mean, she can, but, like, if somebody's touching the point way ahead of their team, it's likely to be another flanker, and frankly, there's better things you can be doing with your time than trying to fight, like, another Tracer or Genji. So, I don't care particularly much that somebody's on the point, mostly because it's only one person. So we messed up mechanically in here, and we popped recall really early. Yeah, I mean, fair enough, we are, like, getting focused in, and then we just mess up blinking out of the room, which is tragic indeed. And then we, don't quite make it to the end in time. If we cut, like, a little bit left, we can try and hide behind the door frame, and maybe drag out the cooldown. That's a fucking novel over there, I'm not reading that. Maybe drag out the cooldown a little bit longer to try and blink over to the health kit. But basically the moral of the story is just blink better, which isn't super helpful advice, because that's just something you gotta practice and get used to the movement. This is the thing with, like, any competitive video game. You have to get used to just controlling your character and navigating the space, and that just kind of comes with time, really. So, it doesn't matter, enemy team, not very good, because they're also in bronze, so we get back, and, who is fighting them on the point, is, the question here. They're not fighting someone on the point, because they're all looking out that doorway on the left-hand side. Yeah, we can hear them fighting. Yeah, like, they're not actually fighting someone on the point. Yeah, no one's contesting the point. They're fighting people on the left-hand side of the point, which is to be expected of Horizon. It is often better to just go around the right-hand side. I'm going to talk about it later. Never mind. It is better for us to try and go around the right-hand side and get up behind them, because Tracer's not exactly good at fighting on the front lines, right? And, old wives' tale, watching the kill cam doesn't actually help in any way, really. It's more important to know what's currently going on in the game behind you, so skipping the kill cam is better, because then you actually know what's happening in the game, rather than watching something that is not usually very helpful. Just an old wives' tale. We didn't react in time to also getting killed, and didn't blink out, and didn't recall or blink out of the way. Feels bad, happens. We shouldn't be coming up to try and fight this one, because the enemy team have captured this point. Don't bother trying to push up onto an objective that you've already lost, because what's you versus 5 people gonna do, right? It's not gonna work. So, we are just sort of ambling around right now. We just kind of like stopped firing at Diva while we were retreating, which is kind of weird, especially since we're so close to having Pulse Bomb. We seem very unfocused. When, what happened here? I guess we probably tried to blink up to this guy and didn't realize we were out of blinks, because we even, like, turn as if we were expecting to blink over and throw the Pulse Bomb. So I'm guessing we just lost track of how many blinks we had. We seem very unfocused in general. So, there's... Focusing first, not Diva or Hanzo. No. Kill Hanzo first. And then, here's the thing, okay, so if Mercy's around and she has res, you don't have to kill the Mercy first, because what you can just do is kill a person, then camp the area, and when Mercy comes up to try and res them, you come back out and kill the Mercy, so you don't have to kill the Mercy first. Hanzo is, like, really important to kill right now, because he's very, very strong. So I begrudge, this is something I wanted to say, I begrudge the tone some people take when giving advice, because, like, this is just, like, a really insulting way to put it, right? And this is something that should be self-explanatory, but a lot of people miss out on, is you don't want to make somebody feel bad for asking advice, right? Which is why I try to keep shit-talking and making fun of the person who sent the video in to a minimum, because you don't want to make fun of the people who are asking for advice. Make fun of everybody else. That's fine. So, like, just phrasing things like that, it's just like, it's unnecessarily insulting and doesn't do anything really but make the person feel bad. And that's not really particularly helpful, is it? It's like, you can phrase this without adding this part at the end, and nothing about the sentence has changed in terms of information. You're just being less of an asshole about it, right? Anyway, so I begrudge when people take that kind of tone with things, because, like, you don't, like, if somebody's asking for advice, you don't want to be a dick about it. So, aim better, but we also, I think we could have meleeed him. How low is he? That looks like, yeah, that would have the melee would have killed him right there, I think. What was the comment down there? Since he only has got 1 bar in his health, yeah. I kinda can't really tell from the video, but I'll take his word for it. It looked like it was low enough. Just punch him. The punch is very hard to miss, so it's just, you know, secure it. Remember when fucking... There was a time when the melee attack used to do 50 damage. Isn't that outrageous to think about? So Tracer only had to do 150 damage to you, and then she could just kill you. Isn't that wild to think about? And it's like, you know, just like punch Tracer 3 times and she dies. Like, that's crazy to think about. Not that, you know, getting to punch Tracer 3 times is the hard part, but, like, it's just crazy to think that it used to do a quarter of a hero's life. Right, that's crazy. And she could target whoever. Yeah, so, again, you don't have to kill the Mercy first, right? If the Mercy is playing well, in fact, you often won't be able to kill the Mercy if she's actually, like, positioning correctly and playing around you, right? You can try and pressure her, but killing her will be hard. You can kill somebody else first, and then... Yeah, the Mercy can try and res them, but you know the Mercy's gonna try and res them, especially if you killed them, like, in their back line, right? So you can just hang around the area, Mercy starts resing, blink up to the Mercy, she can't move anymore, then just fucking one-clip her to death. It's no big deal. I run up and stick her if you've got Pulse Bomb, right? Like, you don't have to kill the Mercy first. So, and even, like, sometimes just getting Mercy to use her res before the fight starts is good enough, honestly. So, what I was going to talk about a while ago and then got, like, uber sidetracked from was that we do feel, like, really unfocused during the game, where we don't really have a clear idea of what we're trying to accomplish. Don't run at someone in a straight line, which is what looks like basically happened there. Yeah, don't run at someone in a straight line like that. You got to vary your movement a little bit more, because otherwise something like that happens, where it's just like, ting, ting, dead. we don't see, it's important to have, like, a basic idea of what you're trying to accomplish, right? Which, for someone like Tracer or Genji, is pressure the backline. We showed that Torbjorn turret. Is pressuring the enemy team's backline. And basically, the thing that we should try and do whenever we're playing an aggressive hero, like Tracer or Genji, is we want to look at the enemy team composition and think, okay, who are our high priority targets? And then go, alright, X, Y, Z, you know, which is usually going to be the supports and then the DPS. But, like, we pick out who we're trying to focus and kill. And then our game plan revolves around trying to get to them, basically. And because, like, if they've got, like, Ana, Mercy, if you just, like, Ana and Mercy are, like, pretty easy to kill. They're relatively static heroes. Or Mercy and Zenyatta is what you're more likely to see. Like, Zenyatta is really easy to kill. So Zenyatta's, like, top of your list of priorities, because you just blink up behind Zenyatta, and he's, like, literally a floating cube. Like, that's his hitbox, a floating cube. So he's really easy to kill. And then your whole game just kind of revolves around trying to get to those people to make their life difficult. Basically, we're picking out the people that we want to make the most sad, and then we're trying to do that. Whereas what we're really doing in this game is just kind of like meandering around, reacting to things that are happening, rather than like proactively trying to make things happen. Someone like Tracer, or Genji, or Pharah, or Reaper, they're heroes that need to take the initiative, because they are based entirely around killing people, right? They have very little, if anything, in terms of utility. They revolve entirely around killing people and pressuring them. So you can't really just react to the things that you're seeing. You have to be trying to proactively make things happen and make life difficult for the enemy team, because that's what the hero is based on. So here, what I went back for originally, I didn't want to get sidetracked again, was we could have killed the Reaper right here, because we could have... He's teleporting out in open space. Look at his head and just fucking kill him. Free kill, easy money. Let's see. Yeah, I don't know why we used recall right there. That wasn't very helpful. I'll assume it was a fat finger. Like, again, look, okay, you don't need to be a dick about it. On top of your extra health, this is not good. Yes, thank you, Einstein, very much for that. You don't need to be a dick about it, right? You could just say, we're not being very useful with or very efficient with our cooldowns, and you're being less of a dick about it, okay? Popped recall really early there again, didn't really need to do that, and then that puts us in an unfortunate position where we'd really like to have recall right now, but we didn't have it because we just used it a second ago. So we end up, we almost died, we got away with it though. So we just kind of like, just like lob it at a person. We're lobbing it at a diva, which is a scary one in general because of defense matrix, but like, throwing the pulse bomb on tanks is, I was never in support of doing that to begin with, but they've nerfed the damage down even lower to try and make people stick tanks less. It only does 300 damage, which isn't that much of a big deal to a tank, especially one that's got 600 health like Diva. So it's better to just get used to trying to stick a squishier target, because once you get decent at aiming the pulse bomb, it's just like a near guaranteed kill on a squishy target, which is, again, what Tracer revolves around, right? She's not good at killing tanks. She's good at pressuring squishy targets and killing them. You know, tanks are great to bully around and farm ult charge off of. Like, look how quickly we've built up our ult after bullying Diva for a little bit, right? They're great for bullying around, but they're not good people to stick. I play Reinhardt, right? I pushed a button, and I don't know what it did. Okay. I've played Reinhardt, and I play Reinhardt, and I've played against so many Tracers that just run up and stick you for the sake of it. Like, if you're gonna stick a tank, you have to be able to, you have to know the pulse bomb is gonna kill them, or you have to be able to do follow-up damage to them. So many Tracers just run up to you, stick you, when, like, it's neutral, and then nothing happens to you because she still has to get through 200 hit points on you, right? Like, so many people waste their pulse bombs just trying to stick tanks. Just get better at sticking squishy targets, and then, like, they die, right? Like, they just die. Someone like Mercy has no recourse if she gets stuck. She has to hope Azaria saves her life, right? I don't care that we gave up on chasing the enemy Tracer, because there are certain matchups in this game that are best avoided, if at all possible, because what usually happens is just everybody ends up wasting time, right? Like, Tracer versus Tracer, Genji versus Genji, Genji versus Tracer, Pharah versus Pharah. These are matchups that usually just end up in being massive wastes of time for both parties involved, because it's so hard for one person to kill the other, and the other person always just has a get-out-of-jail-free card, right? Like, the Tracer can always just recall away from you. And it's like, even if, best case scenario, you do kill the other person, it will have taken you so long to get that kill that there was probably something better you could be doing with your time. There was a term we had with TF2 where we called them weighted companion snipers, which is just that, you saw this on 2Fort the most, where the two sniper on your team and the enemy team would just sit on the balconies shooting at each other all day, and all that happened as a result of this was neither sniper was being productive. And so we call them the weighted companion snipers, because they were there, certainly, they were in the game, doubtlessly, but they never did anything because all they were doing was negating each other's presences, which was a massive waste of all parties involved time. And the exact same thing very easily happens with things like Tracer fighting a Tracer. Both Tracers are just blinking around forever, unlikely to kill each other, and then just, like, wasting everybody's time. Widow versus Widow as well can easily end up being a massive waste of time. I would usually advise, like, if you aren't confident you can kill the other Widow, to just, like, avoid it and stay out of the enemy line of sight as much as possible. Because, like, Widowmaker players have this, like, dominance thing that they get into, and, like, it's better to just kind of, like, not bother, really. So, we do pop recall mad early frequently. I assume it's because we're not accounting for the fact that we have armor, because we're just kind of reacting to getting shot. So I guess we're reacting to getting shot rather than how much damage we've actually taken. Recalling when you've got armor on you doesn't actually do anything, because it only heals lost health, doesn't heal lost armor. Or shields in the event of, like, Symmetra, but that won't be around soon. The thing is, as well, is that some people kind of psych themselves out about this because they don't quite understand how recall works. A friend said this to me the other day, like quite a high-ranked friend said it the other day. It was a while ago at this point, but a quite high-ranked friend said to me at one point, or said to someone at one point, I think you recalled badly and ended up with less hit points on the other end. You can't do that, because the way recall works is it returns you to the highest hit point value you had over the last 3 seconds. It doesn't return you to the hit points you had 3 seconds ago. So it doesn't heal, like, armor or anything like that. It just puts you at, like, your highest hit point value out of your base health. Or if you have shields on you, but Symmetra's about to be a different hero. So we did defend the second checkpoint because it is a 2CP map, so of course, you know, we lost the first checkpoint really fast, and then sat on the second checkpoint just, you know, staring at each other for a while, for about 7 minutes, as all 2CP maps go. Horizon might be a little bit better in the near future because they're actually moving the spawns. So, also, I have an opinion on Rialto now. I had previously said I thought Rialto was quite well balanced. I think I've changed my mind on that, because what I've realized is the defender spawns for the first and second checkpoint are very fucking close to the front lines, because, like, second checkpoint, if you're playing Reinhardt, walk up the first set of stairs, charge, you are back at the fight, basically, off of one charge, pretty much. So, I've come to decide Rialto is, kind of annoying to attack, because the defender's spawns are actually really fucking close, and it makes it quite obnoxious to put, like, the second checkpoint in particular is very egregious. You can get back to the, but fair enough, it's like the end of the checkpoint, but you can get back to the second half of that checkpoint really quickly, and it makes it very obnoxious to try and push through that objective, especially since it's just like a long choke point with no real options available to them. Horizon might not be trash when it gets changed, because the defender's spawns are better positioned, basically. It takes a little bit more time for the defenders to get out there, which will be beneficial for a 2CP map, because that's the problem they all have, really. Like, this is also why I think Volskaya is currently the best balanced 2CP map, because the second checkpoint, while annoying to attack, the defender spawns are far enough away that you do have a reasonable chance of capturing it, whereas all like Hanamura, it's like, nah, they're just back now. So anyway, rambling off-topic point. I'm not one for making concise and salient points. That's just not who I am. So we've blew recall really early right there because we kind of blinked into the enemy tracer and took a bunch of damage. So we're deciding to go the really, really long way around, which is wasting like a huge amount of time. And then we don't even actually do it, because you can blink around that corner onto the high ground on the left-hand side, which is what I assumed we were doing, but no, I guess not. So all that ended up actually doing was we removed ourselves from the fight for about 30 seconds. Because we're currently 50 seconds into this round. We're a minute into the round now. We've had so little impact on the game overall that we only have 30% ult charge built up after the first minute. Like, Pulse Bomb builds mad fast. We've done nothing for a really long period of time, which is bad. This is why dying is bad, because you can't interact with the game for around about 15 to 30 seconds, depending on the map. And so if you're removing yourself from the game while you're alive, that's even worse. Like, look, we're a minute and a half into this game. We're not even halfway to building an ult yet, because we just haven't really done anything. And granted, some of that was waiting for our team to regroup, fair enough, but like, we've done nothing for so long. Like, our impact on the game for the first 2 minutes of the first checkpoint has been close to nil. And we're a hero that's based entirely around killing people and pressuring people. And like, look, we're not doing anything right now. We just don't know what we're meant to be doing, basically. Or we don't know what we're trying to accomplish. Like, map like Horizon, like, it's very easy. If someone like Tracer, you just look at whichever way your team is going, which is probably the right-hand side, and you go the other way and start harassing them from the backside instead. Like, we did nothing for that first checkpoint. We're still going to capture it regardless, so that's great and all. But, like, we actually had zero impact on this checkpoint being captured. We've got to try and be more actively engaged in the game. We've got to try and figure out what we're trying to accomplish, and we've got to try and accomplish it. Because we looked very unfocused. Like, basically, we looked like we weren't sure what we were trying to accomplish. And, like, we just really want to go the other way to our team and harass the enemy team from the backside, split their focus, eventually cause their coordination to break down, try and pick people, and then, like, you know, harass people, build up Pulse Bomb, try and stick someone and make something happen. But, basically, like, we look really unsure of what we're trying to accomplish in the game, which is one of the biggest things. So we're trying to pick a fight with McCree while we're at 80 hit points right now, which is not good. We should try and get up to full hit points before we do anything else. Once you're below like 100 hit points as Tracer, he's not going to die from that. We actually have to keep harassing him a little bit more after that. Once you're below like 100 hit points as Tracer, it's really easy for you to suddenly die to something you couldn't account for. So, or that you had lost track of, or something unexpected happens, you got outplayed, what have you. It's very easy to just randomly die when you're, like, below 100 hit points, or when you've taken damage in general, really, as Tracer. So, like, we want to try and get healed up before we start trying to pick a fight. So, he's got damage reduction. So, Pulse Bomb only does 300 damage, so it wouldn't kill Bastion without the damage reduction, because it would do 295 damage to him through his armor, but then he's got damage resistance in Tart and Tank form as well. So we have to have, and we also know they have a shield generator, because we've seen their shield health on people before as well. So I know he's turning into a tank, which is scary, but if we want to actually kill him, we've got to, like, get a clip or two into him as well at the same time. Which I know is scary, because he just turned into a tank, but we could have made it happen. It was scary, but we just kind of tried to let the Pulse Bomb deal with it. The Pulse Bomb wasn't good enough. So we really want their shield generator. It's a shame we used the Pulse Bomb on Bastion, because we'd like to use it to just kill the shield generator easy. But also, the way that fight was going, if we did kill Bastion, it wasn't unimaginable we won the fight. So, you know, don't be afraid to take an opportunity that you see, because of you're concerned about it going wrong. You should assume the play is going to go well, and act accordingly. So we were standing perfectly still. while we were fighting, killing the shield generator, which is not good. Try not to ever stand perfectly still, because that just makes it easier to kill you. And we want to minimize chance of dying as much as possible. So, so the cool thing about this right now, though, is that we can't lose anymore, right? I always find that to be a very liberating feeling when playing on like a 2CP map. Like, we are now in a situation where we can't lose anymore. A bunch of people on our team are dead right now. We didn't kill the Mercy, unfortunate. We did have the opportunity, but we failed to execute mechanically. Happens. Do you just pick up? Yeah, okay. I was considering we were just going to walk around the health kit for a second there. So, not that 11 health or what have you is a big deal, but like, you know, sometimes you live with 1 hit point. So we do almost have Pulse Bomb built up. People are staggering themselves. Win bronze. It happens, you know, such is life. Symmetra is very scary to fight as Tracer. You can kill Tracer because Tracer's effective range is a little bit... This is about to be false information. Disregard. Because Tracer's about... Symmetra's about to get reworked. Tracer is definitely not about to get reworked. So we knew that those turrets were there because they've been there this entire time. And we just kind of forgot about them, I guess. Which, I mean, you know, also happens. Like, you can't account for everything at all points in time, but we did just, like, blink into the turrets and get killed. So, you know, that's obviously sad. So we are being really pensive right now. Probably because we're, like... a bunch of people on our team are dead. The thing is that this fight's not actually going as badly as it looks. Because currently we've got Bridget and Diva out here. These are 2 hard-to-kill people. And some of the more important members of their team are dead. They're missing Orisa, they're missing Bastion. We've got Pulse Bomb. It's actually not unimaginable we win this fight. And we sit over here. I assume it's just because we assume we've lost that fight and wait to regroup. But if we should have actually been down here taking part in this fight. And someone like Tracer, like, you can afford, like, go in. Just go in and start fighting these people. This could be where we win the game. Because we only need to capture the first tick, and we were really apprehensive to go in here and actually start doing anything. We've captured it regardless, but, like... like, that fight wasn't going as badly as it might have initially looked, numbers-wise, so we should have gotten in there and, like, started taking part in that fight. We got in there in the end, but, like, I guess it looked like we were waiting for people to regroup because we assumed we'd lost. It's just, like Diva, and Bridget, they're hard to kill. Quite a few people on their team were dead, so it's worth a try. Like, Tracer has... a lot of options for disengaging from a fight once she's realizing that it's going badly. So we can go in there and, like, just give it a try, because we don't need to get much control of the objective to actually win the game in that situation. So, anyway, the two things stand out the most. First, blowing recall way too early in fights stood out a lot, because we used recall at full health a few times, so that stands out the most. We really don't want to have to blow recall if we don't have to. Now, having said all this at the same time, if you do think you're going to die, right, like if you're concerned you're going to die, just use recall, because it's more important you survive than anything else. So if you think you're going to die, don't try and, like, greed out of it and not use recall. Do just use recall if you think you're going to die. When in doubt, recall out, which is something someone else said, but I've stolen it now, and it's mine. But we don't want to have to use recall if we don't have to. If we can blink to a healer or blink over a health kit or just, like, disengage from the fight instead, that's great. That's better than using recall, because we're so much weaker when recall is on cooldown. We need to play more defensively when it's on cooldown, so we really want to minimize that and just try and have recall available as much as possible. But if you do think you're going to die, don't be greedy to save the recall. Just use recall if you think you're going to die. Being alive is the most important thing. Especially as a hero that revolves around killing people and applying pressure. Because as soon as you die, all pressure you were applying is immediately relieved. So we really don't want to die, ever. But the other thing that stands out the most is just that we are really unfocused and unclear on what we're trying to do in the game. Which, I mean, you know, fair enough. If we're an inexperienced player, we're gonna be unsure of what we're trying to accomplish, especially in a game as chaotic as Overwatch. There's a lot happening at various points in time to keep track of, especially as a fast-paced hero like Tracer, very squishy, active hero who has to keep track of more moving things. The best thing to do is just try and figure out what their team comp is as soon as possible, and then decide who your highest priority targets are, and try and focus around getting them. Also, look if there are people on their team that are likely to cause you trouble, because we need to account for them as well. So, like, we look at the enemy team, and if we see something like Mercy, Bridget, McCree, Soldier, right? We look at that and we go, alright, so we really want to kill Mercy above all else, and then we want to kill, like, Soldier after that, because Soldier is high output DPS who is easy-ish to kill for somebody like Tracer, right? He's certainly easier to kill than McCree. But at the same time, we have to be careful of Bridget and McCree, because they are two of the heroes that have hard crowd control, and therefore two of the more reliable counters to Tracer. So we look at the team comp and we go, alright, I'm trying to get to these two people while avoiding these two people. Someone like, somebody who revolves around killing people and applying pressure, you have to be really actively engaging in the game to actually do that. And the easiest way to do that is just figure out, what am I trying to do? Which is usually killing high priority targets. So you're just trying to figure out how to get to those once you've determined who they are. But we need to have some kind of plan. Basically, we can't just, like, if we're playing a hero that's based around making plays and applying pressure actively, we can't play reactively, really. Obviously, there's always an element of playing reactively, right? You always do have to react somewhat to the enemy team, but someone like Tracer has to be proactively making things happen as well. You have to be making the enemy team react to you. You can't just be reacting to them, because you want them on the back foot. You don't want to be on the back foot. And the person who is reacting is the one playing on the back foot, right? So those were the things that stood out the most in this game. So thank you very much for watching. If you did, if you have any questions, feel free to ask. I'm more than happy to answer. If you haven't already, you can join our Discord and ask questions more directly and have a conversation about them, or just shitpost with us. And I hope you found the video helpful.